Reb Eliezer says Truma is for nullified in
Hold
101.
on. Wait. No, no, Daled Zion is the new stuff.
Oh, it's issues over here. Okay, sorry.
No worries.
All right. Um, you're right. Okay. Solid. Okay. If one says to his agent, go and set aside Truma, he must separate according to the owner's mind. If he does not know the owner's mind, he separates according to the average person, 1/50th. If he gave 10 less than or 10 more, his Truma is a Truma. If he intentionally added even only one, his Truma is not Truma. If one wishes to give more of Truma, Reb Eliezer says 1/10, as in the case of Truma Maisa. If more than this, he should make it Truma Maisa for another place. Reb Ishmael says half Chulin and half Truma, and Reb Tarfon and Reb says as long as he retains a part of his Chulin. And come on. At three times does one measure the baskets, at the time of the first ripe fruits, at the time of the late summer fruits, and in the middle of the summer. He who counts is praiseworthy, and he who measures is more praiseworthy, and he who weighs is the most praiseworthy of the three. Okay, now we're here, Saya.
Okay, yeah, now it's going to Zion. Okay. Rabbi Lezer Omer, Truma Ola Be'echad. So if Truma fell into Chulin, it can be removed from a mixture of more than 1 in 100. Now let's just again be clear. Minat Torah, Truma is nullified in a majority. Okay,
Mhm.
and that would be sufficient in a majority. So the machlokes that we're having over here is about the sheer derabanan, which is of course that's the halacha. We follow the halacha derabanan. But the machlokes now is going to be between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua. Rabbi Eliezer says you need a full 100 parts of chulin against the 1 part of truma in order to be able to to be able to rescue the chulin. Rabbi Yeshua mer b'meya v'od. So Rabbi Eliezer said 101, meaning, and the 1 part includes the truma. Okay.
Right.
When we say b'meya v'od, what Rabbi Yeshua means 99 and a bit. And we're going to see now what that a bit means. V'od ze ein shir. And the a bit, according to the Tanakama, is like any amount. There's no shear. Even a kurtov, like a little teaspoonful, that would be more than 99. Okay, Rabbi Yossi ben Meshulam Omer v'od kavle mea se'ah shesos lemedamea says no, it's a sixth of a sixth of a so let's say we're talking about in se'ah. So if you've got a se'ah of truma that fell into 99 se'ah plus a kav which is a sixth of a se'ah. So so 1 kav in 100 again the order is the order that we're talking about there. The little bit extra is that extra kav, which is 1/6 of a part. Shesos lemedamea. Okay, and the halacha that we follow is the more machmir shir of Rabbi Eliezer. So if from here on in, we always regard the shir bittul for truma as 100 against one, or 101. Rabbi Yeshua Omer, Teinim shechoros malos es levanos, levanos malos es shchoros. So he says that black figs, and we say black, they're not literally black, they're just dark figs. And I've seen, the two different types of figs that I've seen in my time. You've got the ones that you typically in the market here are quite purple. But when I
Right.
was growing up, um, I had a fig tree in my garden when as a kid, and the figs they were green.
Yeah, I always see them green. I never see anything else.
Ah, okay. No, so the ones that you find in the market over here are typically purple.
Really?
Um, yeah. They go when they ripen. They go a lovely dark purple color. The ones
I
that
don't eat.
that I grew up on were when they were fully ripe. They were green.
I don't eat olives, so I don't really pay too much attention.
Figs. We're talking figs here. So so
Oh,
if
fig.
so
Yeah.
if you have a mixture of figs, so you've got the dark figs and the light figs, and some truma and a truma fig fell into them. Um,
Mhm.
so says Rabbi Yeshua. they all count towards the shear to be mevatel the one fig that fell in. So if it was 50 dark and 50 light and one fig fell in, then they all join together to make the shear of 101 again against the trimmer. And similarly, yeah, and he's saying that even if you know that the first fig that fell in was a white one, the dark ones still join into the shear to be mevatel. Similarly, he says, "Igulei devela hagadolim ma'alim esakatanim." When it comes to uh, um, pressed fig cakes, right? So if you had a whole bunch of pressed fig cakes, and they're in a big pile, and some were of a bigger style and some were of a smaller style, the large ones can join together to save the small ones, and the small ones can join together to save the large ones. Ha'igulim malinis ha'malbanim, and the shape, even if you have different shapes. So some of them pressed into round cakes and some of them pressed into square cakes.
Uh,
Even if some of them are, even if you know that the trimmer that fell in was a round cake, then the square ones can be counted in the shear to be mevatel the one that fell in. And vice versa. Malbanim malinis ha'igulim. Rabbi Eliezer Oser, he says, forget about it. This is these are in all of these cases it's going to be called meduma. You cannot they're considered separate minim, and therefore all you've got is 50 to 1, and the whole thing is and it's meduma.
mm,
Rabbi Akiva takes a kind of a middle ground. He says, "Biyadua ma nafla." If you know what it is that fell in, so let's say, go back to the dark figs and the light figs. If you know that a light fig fell in, Ein malos zo, then the dark figs do not count. Because what can you do? You could just go through that pile and take out all the dark figs and say, look, I know that the dark figs are not truma. So take them all out. They're all good chulin. And the light figs, they're meduma. Okay? And therefore you have a and therefore he says he takes that position. But if you don't know what kind of fig fell into the pile, then they do join together because you've got the suffix on both sides, and therefore the whole pile is it joins together to make that 100. And without diving in now, Mishna Tes is now a direct follow-on from this, which explains Rabbi Akiva's position. Ketzad, Chamisha Teinim Shchoros v'Chamisha Levanos. You have 50 and 50, 50 light, 50 dark. Nafla Shechora. If a dark one fell into, if a dark truma fig fell into the pile, Shchoros Asuris v'Lavanos Mutaris. Then the dark figs are the ones that you've got a problem with, but the light ones you can just pick out and they're completely mutar. Nafla Levana Sasunis Shchoros Mutaris. And exactly the same if the light figs fell in, if a light fig fell in, then the light ones are the problem, but you can pull out all the dark ones. If you have no idea, you just know that you had some truma figs and the truma figs themselves were a mixture. You just saw a fig fall into the pile and you don't know if it was a light one or a dark one. Malos eso. Then they will redeem each other. Ubazor Rabbi Eliezer machmir, and this is the case where Rabbi Eliezer actually is machmir. Rabbi Eliezer would not even permit you to join them together, even if you don't know which one is which. But Rabbi Yeshua Mekel, and Rabbi Yeshua would be Mekel, even if you did know which one fell in, you could still join them together to be Mavatel, the one that fell in. And the halacha follows Rabbi Akiva.
okay.
Okay.
All right.
Back to Aleph Ches.
One may not separate truma from oil for olives, which are due to be crushed, or from wine for grapes that are due to be trodden. But if he did separate, the truma is truma. But if he must separate again, the first by itself renders meduma, and one is liable for it to the added fifth, and not the second. One may separate truma from oil for olives, which are due to be preserved, and from wine for grapes, which are due to be made into raisins. If one separated truma from oil for olives intended for eating, from olives for olives intended for eating, that is repeating the sentence here, for wine from grapes intended for eating, or for grapes, and then he decided to tread on them, he need not separate truma. And one may not separate truma from produce which is in a finished state for a produce which is in an unfinished state, or from produce in an unfinished state for produce in a finished state, or from produce in an unfinished state for produce in an unfinished state. But if he did separate truma, his truma is truma.
Okay. Schweres Aleph sein.
Saplings and Greek gourds combined in a Beit Saw. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamil says if there are 10 gourds within a Beit Saw, the entire Beit Saw may be plowed until Rosh Hashanah. Until when are they considered saplings? Rabbi Eliezer ben Azariah says until they become permitted. Rabbi Yeshua says until they are 7 years old, and Rabbi Akiva says as long as they are called thus. If a tree was cut down and produced fresh shoots, if one handbreadth or less, it is accounted as a sapling. If more than a handbreadth, it is accounted as a tree. So says Rabbi Shimon. Okay. That's it.
No, one
No,
more.
one more. Until when may a white field be plowed in the 6th year? Until the moisture has dried up. As long as people plow to plant cucumbers and gourds. Reb Shimon says you put the law for each man into his own hand, and rather in a white field until Pesach and an orchard until Shavuos.
Okay.
Yeah, wrong answer.
Uktzin.
And Uxum. Okay. Hey, hey. Costus, ginger, fragrant herbs, tia, asafodia, pepper, and sapphire loaves may be purchased with money of Ma'aser Sheni, but they do not contract Tuma Okolin. These are the words of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri said to him, if they may be purchased with Ma'aser Sheni money, why do they not contract Tumas Okolin? And if they do not contract Tumas Okolin, they should not be purchased with Ma'aser Sheni money. Regarding undeveloped fruit and unripe fruit, Rabbi Akiva rules them susceptible to becoming tummy with Tumas Okolin. Rabbi Yochanan Aminori says they're acceptable only when they reach the tithing stage. Regarding hardened olives and grapes, Beit Shammai rules them susceptible to becoming tamei, but Res Hillel says they rule them tahor. Regarding fennel, Beit Shammai rules them tahor, but Res Hillel says rule acceptable to becoming tamei, and so too regarding tithes. Hearts of palm is like wood for all matters, except that it may be purchased with Ma'aser Sheni money, and immature dates are food, but they are exempt from tithes. Okay. And go on to
Hello?
Oh, yes. Okay. Vav. Hey, Vav. How so? If an olive pressing basket was placed on top of a pit or in a cistern that is inside a house, the contents of the pit or cistern remains tahor. However, if an olive pressing basket was placed on top of either a well that is level to the floor of the house or a broken basket, the contents of the well or the basket becomes tamei. On the other hand, if a flat board or a kneading board without sides was placed on top of either a well that was level to the floor of the house or atop a broken basket, the contents remain tahor. This is because utensils combine with the walls of a structure to curtail tuma only when there are walls. How high must the wall be to block tuma? One handbreadth. However, if half of a handbreadth is from a wall and the other half is from the olive pressing basket, it is not considered to be a wall. It is only a wall when one of them is a handbreadth by itself. And just as they control tuma when they're inside, so do they control tuma when they're outside. How so? An olive pressing basket is placed on pegs outside a house. If there is tuma underneath the olive pressing basket, utensils remain tahor. If an olive pressing basket is placed on pegs next to the wall of a courtyard or the wall of a garden, it does not curtail tuma. And a beam is placed between two walls and a pot is suspended from the beam. If there is tuma beneath the beam, utensils inside the pot are true tahor by Rabbi Akiva, but they're ruled tamei by the Chachamim. Okay,
One more.
we go on to Idios.
Hold on, we've got Vav Aleph to
In
Eliezer.
3 cases concerning tumor
Eliezer.
susceptibility, we've studied
Hello,
that articles
can you hear me?
can become
Can you
tummy
hear
and
me?
become tummy
Hello?
who they are tahor. I'm sorry, Aleph, the nail of a money changer, bait and a grist merchant's chest, the nail of a sundial. Reb Sadik deems these 3 capable of becoming tummy, but the sages who they are tahor. There are four things that Rabbi Gamliel believes capable of becoming Tomei, and the sages room Tahor. The metal cover of a household is teni, and the hanger of a stingel, and unfinished metal utensils, and a tray that's split into two. But the Chachamim agree with Rabbi Gamliel in the case of a tray that's split into two pieces, one large, one small. The large is capable of becoming Tomei, and the small Tahor. In three matters, Rabbi Gamliel rules stringently in accordance with Beit Shammai. One may not insulate hot water on Yom Tov for the Sabbath, and one may not straighten his candlestick on Yom Tov, and one may not bake thick loaves of bread on Yom Tov, only wafers. My Gamliel says, in all the days of my father's house, they would never bake thick loaves of bread on Yom Tov, only wafers. They, the sages who disagree with Rabbi Gamliel, said to him, "And what shall we do with your father's household?" They were stringent upon themselves, but they ruled leniently for the people of Israel, allowing them to bake thick loaves of bread and even cold baked bread on Yom Tov.
Okay.
He,
Mishna.
he also ruled leniently in three cases. One may sweep between the
Hold
couches
on.
on the
Hello.
Sabbath and Yom Tov, and one may not. One
Eliezer.
may put
Woo!
incense on burning coals on Yom Tov, and one may prepare uh, knowledge. One who reads the Torah may not read fewer than three verses, and he may not read more than one verse at a time for the translator. And in the section for the prophets, he may not read more than three verses at a time. If the three verses are three paragraphs, we read them one by one. One is permitted to skip in the reading of the prophets, but one may not skip in the reading of the Torah. How much is one permitted to skip? No more than one would cause the translator to pause. I went too
Okay.
early. I did
Yeah,
that yesterday.
that from yesterday. So carry on from today now.
That's not the thing. The one who concludes with a section from the prophets is the one who divides the Shema, and one goes before the ark and lifts his hands to bless the people. If he's a minor, his father or teacher go before the ark on his behalf. A minor may read the Torah or serve as a translator. However, he may not divide the Shema, nor may he go before the ark, nor may he lift his hands to bless the people. And one whose clothes are tattered may divide the Shema and or serve as a translator. However, he may not read the Torah, nor may he go before the ark, and nor may he lift his hands. A blind man may divide the Shema and serve as a translator. The Rabbi Yehuda says anyone who has never seen the luminaries may not divide the Shema. A Kohen whose hands are blemished may not lift his hands. Rabbi Yehuda says even one whose hands are stained with wood, with woad or matter may not lift his hands because the people will stare at him.
Okay.
All right.
Right,
Uh,
done.
okay, great. Have a great day. Enjoy
You
your.
too.
You got the whole morning free now.
Ah.